You are listening to episode 5 of the Underhook show. As always, I'm Steve alongside Chris. And Chris, we got a lot to unpack, but before we do, how are you doing, my friend?
I'm doing great, my friend. Just chilling, ready to talk the professional wrestling as always.
Oh yeah, and this is a pay-per-view edition, so you get the whole rundown and deep dive of AEW Dynasty, as well as the episode of AEW Dynamite that just went off the air around 20 minutes ago. So we have a whole lot to get into. Before we get into the card proper, I will ask, as I did with Revolution, you catch anything on the pre-show?
Yeah, I actually did. I will watch. Like I said, I bowl on Sundays. But I had it on when I was at bowling. Had the pre-show on. I didn't catch all of it. I didn't catch the first the actual matches or anything. I did see like here and there, so I did take that back.
Yeah, no problem. So I had it on in the background. I actually was skimming through Collision while this was on because I wanted to see a couple of things. And I guess, Collision, Go Home Collision kind of ties into this as well, which was the Pac versus Cash Wheeler match, as well as the main event of Collision, which was the Women's Owen Hart preview tag. And my only takeaways from that was, which both good, just like standard fare for AEW television, nothing outstanding, but I'm so ready for this Athena television run. She stole the show in the match, like demanded your attention in the match, and I'm just so ready for this tournament run of hers. As far as the pre-show goes, I was in and out of the tag match, it was a multi-man tag match. But I saw a lot of people praising AR Fox's performance in particular. I did watch the Max Caster squash, which is a favorite in these parts. And I'm glad Anthony Bowens is back and will get a focus of his own.
Yeah, that's with the match. I was trying to look up the card, but the only match I did see on there was the Bowen or the Caster Bowens one, because that's when I turned it on. That match was happening, so we kind of figured, we touched base on that last week about that was probably going to be the opponent with the given Owen Hart tournament. We think it's going to be Josh Alexander now.
Yeah, there's a couple of names floating around now with all the ramifications. I'm cool with it, though, because I figured whoever walks in to wrestle Hangman's going to lose, and if you're repackaging Bowens like this, he needed the win, and he needed to... I'm glad they did the caster match in this way rather than any sort of extended feud.
Absolutely.
I think this was handled incredibly well, and it was all it needed to be. The match prior was Action Andretti, Leo Rush, and Nick Wayne against AR Fox and Top Flight.
Okay, so...
Yeah.
That match, on paper, it looks, it is what it is, probably.
Yeah.
We kind of had a match similar on Dynamite. We
sure did, which with a couple of these people, at least Crew. Yeah, Crew is in it. That's what they go by. Yeah, it was a little bit of a lighter pre-show compared to ones in the past. My only comment on it that really made me think about it was no Costco guys, and I'm not suggesting that they need to be in every single one, but they were in the promotional material for this show when they did the big vignette with the skate park and all that.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, there were some Big Boom AJ clips spliced in there, and they were no part of the show. So that was a little strange.
And we get nothing.
Yeah. But what we did get was a very long show, and the weird thing about the show length, which I'm sure you and I will harp on as we get later into the card, but what felt strange was it felt like a very much designated undercard with all of the tournament matches and like the trios title and the tag title. Like it felt very much tiered, I guess, if that's the right word, where AEW usually sequences things out to where it doesn't feel like that all the time. But this felt like a very much defined undercard, and then your more significant things later into the show. But that doesn't necessarily mean all of it was bad. So starting with the first match, Will Ospreay defeats Kevin Knight first round of the Owen Hart Foundation men's tournament in 13:46, and you were right on the money with this. Everything you said about this match is exactly what it was, and it went first.
Yeah, like on paper, it looks. You can tell it's a great opening match, get the crowd hot, and that's what it did. It was a Kevin Knight showcase match, and like we said, he had big shoes to fill coming in. First pay-per-view match, Will Ospreay, but I think he did pretty good. We all knew the outcome was going to be Ospreay going over, but Kevin Knight showed out there.
Yeah, and he was my takeaway from this match because he was able to keep pace. You know, he is like we hyped him up last week. He is an incredible athlete. He had no issues with that. But how they showcased him, particularly in a lot of his cutoffs, a lot of reversals, a lot of his well-timed drop kicks, fit the ebb and flow of the match incredibly well, in my opinion. And I had a lot of fun with this. I didn't think it was anything spectacular, but for what it set out to do, I think it did it well. And the bump he took on the hidden blade also was awesome.
Yeah, gnarly.
Yeah. So excited to see more of Kevin Knight. He was announced for Best of the Super Juniors, so he won't be on TV for about 3-ish weeks in May. So I don't think he'll be on Double or Nothing or anything like that. He did announce that he did sign a dual New Japan AEW contract, which is interesting because we're seeing more of that now. That precedence was set with Takeshita. So, because I remember when the lineups were announced, I'm like, oh, cool, Kevin Knight's in this. But the way they do it is if you are a guest participant, all of your graphics are associated with your home promotion. So, like, Nick Wayne's also in the tournament. All his stuff was AEW branded. There is a mystery CMLL participant. So, obviously, they did it as such. But Kevin Knight's was still New Japan. So, he will still be involved with both companies, which is cool. Because I don't think he ever got to do that much, aside from some junior tag league stuff with Kushida.
Yeah. Like I said, I'm new on the Kevin Knight train, but I'm sold. I'm good. I'm here now.
Yeah, and he had another good showing tonight, which we'll get into a little bit later. But yeah, fun match, I would say. Out of the first half of the show, this was probably my favorite of the bunch until we get into some of the stuff a little bit later.
I honestly have a surprising pick for my favorite of the first half.
Yeah, so we'll keep running through these, and then I'm looking forward to hearing that. But I think, like I said, I didn't think this was anything mind-blowing, but
it was exactly
it got done what it needed to. Yeah,
what we thought it was going to be, and it was good.
And I think for that just hyper-athletic style, sometimes it could get a little too much for me with some regards, but I don't think this strayed into that territory at all. I think the only thing that I was kind of not huge on was they did that really long wrist control segment.
Yeah. There's a lot of matches on here. The pacing seemed a little different.
Mm-hmm.
But we'll get there.
I'm with you. But yeah, fun match. Good match. Moving on, the AEW World Tag Team Championship. The Hurt Syndicate successfully defended against the Learning Tree in 10 minutes and 29 seconds. And I was really excited for this, and I think it was just kind of a match that happened, and the angle was more important.
Yeah, the MJF stuff outshined the actual match, so I was more excited just to see Big Bill and Bobby Lashley in the ring together. So I just want that a single. Give me that singles match. I don't need anything else.
Yeah, and the big spot, like the strength spot, wasn't from Lashley. It was Shelton suplexing Bill.
Yeah, then, like I said, the MJF stuff later on overshadowed it, but the camera didn't even catch it.
Man, I didn't catch the camera not catching it. I knew he was there, so if you didn't see the show, MJF was in the corner on hard cam to cause a distraction, and he hit one of them. He hit Big Bill. Yeah. He hit Big Bill with the ring, and I believe they cut away before he made contact, now that I'm thinking about it.
Yeah, it was the Willow Nightingale spearing Mock situation all over again.
Yeah, which, again, pay-per-view, gotta have your stuff together, especially, so.
Tighten it up.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, a little let down just seeing the names on paper. I really like everybody in this match, and I kind of wish for a little bit more, but we're kind of 0-2 now with these Hurt Syndicate matches on pay-per-view, and I don't think it's their fault whatsoever. So I'm hoping for Double or Nothing have something with a little bit more substance to it, that since they haven't really been in a long-term feud either. So I think it's time we give them something a little bit more to chew on.
Yo, absolutely. And after tonight, it looks like we're still doing this MJF thing, so...
Yeah, I don't think it's going to go anywhere for a little bit. Third on the card, Mercedes Moné defeats Julia Hart in 13 minutes and 3 seconds in the opener for the women's bracket of the Owen Hart Foundation tournament. And I don't really have much to say about this match. I think it was a lot of what I was echoing last week, where it was Mercedes seeing what she could get out of Julia. I think, to Julia's credit, she was laying a lot on the line with a lot of the dives and stuff.
I'm going to say this was my surprise. This was my actual... I enjoyed this more than I thought I would, and this was actually one of my favorite matches in the first half.
Okay.
Just because Mercedes always brings out the best in whoever she's going against, so I knew she was going to bring out something in Julia.
Mm-hmm.
It's not the best matches of these two, but I enjoyed it, though, for a good women's match for the Owen. And I was thoroughly surprised. So I was like, yeah, I enjoyed it.
Yeah, no,
I'm liking the new Julia Hart, too. It's just, they're... Before when she was the women's champion, I feel like she had a good run, but they didn't really do much with it when she was the TBS champion.
Yeah, I think that she's moving away from the shtick heavy stuff that came with the House of Black.
Yeah.
And this was an important match for somebody who I said last week needs to find herself more in the ring, And who better on this stage especially than Mercedes. But yeah, I mean, with Julia's gymnastics background, she's able to do a lot of the aerial stuff. And most of it looked good in this match, and she bumped, and especially the bump on the Meteora on the outside.
Yeah,
and that looked pretty gnarly. She made it look great.
And then I just thoroughly enjoyed this match. It was not one of Julia Hart's better matches, but like I said, Mercedes was going to bring out the best in whoever was going to go against her, and it's just leading up to what we're waiting for.
Yeah.
But I have a theory on that, but we'll get to that.
Sure. I'm looking forward to hearing it. Yeah, and I don't have much bad to say about this match. It was fine and good. I mean, it did, like I said, similar to the first one. I mean, different situation, but as far as doing what it needs to, I think you could file this.
Now, should it have been on the pay-per-view? Questionable, but
probably not. Especially
there's another match on there in the tournament that shouldn't have been on there either. But
sure, with this card specifically, I'll really unpack this when we get into the main event, but for how much of this was tacked on to the card, and then for the show to go really long, I'm still trying to figure out how and why that happened. But I guess we'll really never know. That being said, another match that was overshadowed by the angle, but it was an angle I really enjoyed. That being Rated FTR challenging Death Riders, who successfully defended their trios titles in 14 minutes and 43 seconds. I think the match was fine, but the post-match is what everybody took away from this.
The match was really slow to begin, but in the second half it picked up like crazy. And I enjoyed the second half of the match more than the first.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, the ending is what got us all. We knew what was going to happen, but it was a good way they ended it, though.
Yeah, and when you look at some of the guys in this match, I mean, FTR, Claudio, and I mean, we could say what we want about it, where he's at now, but it's like, Edge is historically a tag wrestler, so they know how to structure and pace these things out. And they are all really good at that breaking up the pin by pushing somebody else into the pin. They did quite a few of those, but they all were timed incredibly well.
That's a FTR DIY specialty, right?
Yeah,
there.
yeah, it's an FTR spot for sure. Not that they invented it, but that's their bread and butter in these situations. But man, Cash really showed his true colors after the match.
Yeah, that first of all, the pile driver that Dax hit was nice. I'm a sucker for a good pile driver, but that quick flip into the big rig, that was good. That I was like, that got me. I mean, I knew it was gonna happen, but I didn't know what they were gonna do. And then I just love FTR being heels. So give me the heelish FTR, the assholes FTR. They were sitting on the stretcher when Cash was on the stretcher, and Dax gave him resuscitation. That had me dying laughing.
Putting the neck brace on.
So I said, "Oh, we're back, baby. We are back." Now
we could stay on that for a sec.
Please, just stay heel. I never liked face FTR. Like, they're better heels than they are faces.
I would agree with that. I think the face run in 22, I thought was pretty good. I thought it was really good. But overall, I think they've just, more than anything, they've needed a refresh.
Yeah, absolutely. Like, ever since, unfortunately, to me, it feels like they were in a lull ever since Jay Briscoe passed away. Because they were doing the whole Briscoe thing.
Mm-hmm.
And then, like, ever that, it was just kind of like they were Team AEW. They were the rah-rah AEW guys. But then after that, then what? It was, So I'm hoping they get something now, but where do we go from here with the Hurt Syndicate still being tag champs, though?
Yeah, I think the plan is to clearly...
we know what the plan is.
Right. And I think they'll be occupied with Edge and Christian first. Maybe, I mean, depending on what the Bucks are doing, maybe that'll be the stadium show match, but...
yeah, what are they doing is the real question.
Yeah. But, sticking with FTR, though, they've been directionless for a long time, and... You bring up it was around the time of Jay's unfortunate passing that they didn't know what they were doing with their contract status. And then around Revolution in 23, they re-signed and they said, "This is our last contract." I don't know the details of the tenure or anything.
Yeah.
But I feel like the first 2 years of this new deal, they haven't really done much. They they wrestled the Bucks at Wembley twice. They were in like a multi-man ladder match at one point. But I don't feel like they've ever had like a real long-term feud. Like they were just kind of babyface tag team on Collision,
Yeah, that was pretty much it. They were the top guys on Collision because that was their show. I hope they get something. I'm a big FTR guy, so I liked them in the NXT. I liked them in NXT. They didn't really do much when they got called up, so I was kind of shitty there. But their resurgence now has been good, and like they've been in a lull for a little bit. I'm just hoping they break out of it now.
Yeah, and I think they will because I mean these are kind of you just need that one change to kind of reset and gain some momentum. And they haven't been heel for years now. So, hell, I even think the second Young Bucks match, which was 3 years ago, they were baby faces. So, I think this will be good for them, excuse me. And I also think just in general, them working heel again will be refreshing because they can dictate a lot of the control in their matches.
Yeah.
And from their background and their influences that obviously has worked for them for so many years. So, yeah, I'm excited about this. I was kind of disappointed that we didn't get any follow-up tonight, but yeah, they're very much still staples of the Saturday show. And with some of the stuff announced for Saturday, That'll be one I'll catch
Oh, I'm tuning
the
in.
majority of. Yeah, no, it's
I
pretty
work,
significant
but
one.
when I get home, I'm catching it because it's live. I love a live collision.
There you
So,
go.
like, I'll tune in when it's live.
Yeah. So anything else on the FTR turn or any of this?
I think we covered most of that one, my friend. We can move right on.
Cool. Yeah. Next was the AEW Women's World Title match. Toni Storm successfully defending by the skin of her teeth against Megan Bayne in 15:23, and I actually like this match. I just kind of wish they handled it a little bit differently, and you can consider this a nitpick, but what'd you think of this
I
match?
Yeah, I had no complaints about it. I liked it. The small package win was a good touch, I guess, because you know how it's just a little quick surprise. I like a good surprise win.
Mm-hmm.
So what I miss also is flash wins, like flash knockout wins. So I like the little quick roll up, and I like because they still show Megan Bayne being you still showcase her being strong. You didn't bury her in the match, and even with tonight, Tony still said she didn't want to get back in the ring with her. So like that's her, still putting Megan over. But yeah, I can kind of see where they could have handled it a little bit differently.
Yeah, I didn't mind the finish itself. I think that's a good way to make Megan Bayne look strong in defeat. I just would not have burned the 1 count out of the Storm Zero if she was going to win anyways.
Makes sense.
Yeah, so like I would have just gone like do everything how had the match go how it was, but I would have just trimmed out the kick out at 1 because to me that was like, oh, she's winning. And again, maybe that's just to trick you into thinking she's going to win but it's almost like I don't know, I get all kind of in my bag with that kind of stuff. So that could just be me. I didn't mind it overall. I actually thought this was one of Tony's better matches. Aside from, the bloodbath last month. But for the Timeless character, I thought this was really good. I just would have changed that one sequence.
Yeah. Overall, decent match.
And then next up on the card, this actually might be my match of the night. Kyle Fletcher defeats Mark Briscoe in 16 minutes and 6 seconds in the first round of the Owen Hart Men's Foundation Tournament.
Surprisingly good match. I don't think it should have been on the card, but surprisingly good match.
Yeah, I'm with you too. I mean, this could have easily just been a TV main event. But let me just lay it out like this. I have not seen the previous 2 matches. I did not see the 2, I want to say they're both on Collision. One late last year, one early this year. Still getting through the Continental Classic as we speak. But man, like, for all I've been reading and all I've been seeing Kyle Fletcher built up as, this is probably the closest that I've, like, from what I've seen that's lined up with that. And I think a lot of that has to do with how great of a foil Mark Briscoe is, like as a babyface. But by just giving Fletcher that little bit of breathing room, his whole presentation is just so much more balanced to me. And that breathing room also makes things like that running kick into the corner, like the dude just explodes.
Yeah. This was a good change of pace match too. Like, kind of woke the crowd back up a little bit.
Well, yeah, they went with the decision. I don't know if you can call 16 minutes a sprint, but this was all gas, no brakes. Fletcher did take time to let things register, soak it in, and kind of hot dog a little bit to get the heat on him. But man, when these two were letting it fly, like they were going nuts.
Yeah, I didn't see. I had to watch this match again the day after because I missed most of it because I was busy. But when I went back, or when I did see it live, it was good. Went back, I thoroughly enjoyed it too. It's probably my second favorite match of the night. We could probably guess which one's my first one. Still coming up.
I figured, and that seems to be the consensus. I just think I was surprised by this because I wasn't doubting this pairing's chemistry. I've read so many great things, and from my own experience, the Fletcher that wrestled Mark Briscoe on Ring of Honor last summer is a different guy now, and I was just a lot more positive on this, and this is exactly what I was talking about coming out of the Ospreay feud, where I'm just like, let me see what he can do with somebody else who will channel that side of him out more without having to sacrifice how impressive he is as an athlete, And I think this was that happy medium, because some of the stuff they were doing here was insane. Like the power bomb on the apron, or not on the apron, on the barricade.
Yeah, there was some hate behind that one.
Like Briscoe was, I'm no surprise he was of the bumps he was taking, but man, this was awesome.
He said, "We gotta wake him up. Let's go." So,
yeah, and mission accomplished, man. This, I was really into this, and now I'm even.
They had to do something, because the match after this put him right back to sleep.
Yeah, but before we get to that, I will just say that I am extremely motivated to now go and see the two matches before this, because I definitely understand the praise for this specific pairing of Briscoe and Fletcher, because I thought this rocked.
But yeah, I want to say I've probably seen both their other ones. I just don't really remember them, to be honest.
It was Collision in November or December, and then Collision in January.
If they were on Collision, I did not see them. All right.
Yeah. So I'm gonna get back to those.
And now that Collision's on Max, I can go back. So I'll be.
Yeah. So there you go. There's the Max plug. We are not affiliated, but hey, if you want to send us free stuff,
I'll take it.
All right. Bandito has vanquished the evil that is Chris Jericho in 18 minutes. But Chris, what the hell is this?
I hated every second of this, by the way. Bandito is way too good to be stuck in this Jericho Vortex bullshit. But the title's off of him. Hopefully Bandito's away from him now. I'm just tired of seeing him. I'm tired of him. And then tonight, I'm still tired of him.
Yeah, me too. To give him any sort of grace here, which we really shouldn't, but I will. I'll play devil's advocate. He did save his best for this match as far as what he was doing. Physically, he was committed to this match. But why did he need a visual pinfall? He already beat Bandito.
Yeah,
a couple weeks ago.
It just had to get to stroke his ego more. It was no reason. They could have just whatever.
The restart is infuriating given how the show ended. And Jericho's done this already, just on the other side, when he was the babyface against MJF. It was 3.5 years ago, granted, but the whole, I jokingly called it VAR for any soccer fans out there, the video assistant referee, because it's there's this unwritten rule in wrestling where these shenanigans can just happen for the sake of the booking, right?
Yeah.
So you have to take it into consideration that if you're going to establish that the decision can be overturned in this match, I don't know. It felt very much like where Jericho's going to get the visual pinfall if he's going to actually lose. And that took me out of the moment of Bandito winning. I was mentally checked out.
Nope. And then they restarted it. Like you said, I for sure, when Jericho went, I was like, they're probably going to restart this match because whatever, it is what it is. And then they did it, and I was just over it at this point because it shouldn't have went 18 minutes, first of all. But
yeah,
I'm just glad Bandito's away from this. My man's too good to be out here doing this.
Yeah, and I hope we're done. I hope there's no rubber match. Because I think you could. I don't think that's how Bandito's run should start. He has been stuck with Jericho since he came back. Like, let the man flourish as champion. Give him something really good for Super Card of Honor next month. And it now has a date and a place. But man, this was dumb. I'm with you 100%. I'm done with this. Let's do with this Jericho stuff.
We got one more segment to talk about tonight, and
yeah. But I could talk in circles about all that as far as this match goes. But the takeaway though is that the Ring of Honor title is no longer Chris Jericho's. It is Bandito's, and long may he reign with different and better opponents.
Please.
The next one I have a lot of questions on. And this was Adam Cole defeating Daniel Garcia, winning the TNT Championship with the stipulation of no seconds and no time limit. This, if I'm not mistaken, the TNT title is a 20-minute time limit.
Yes.
This did not pass 20 minutes.
Match sucked.
I was not into this.
I'm mad because I'm a Daniel Garcia. Yeah, we talk. I'm a big Daniel. I love Daniel Garcia. But this title run is nothing more than complimentary for my man here.
This is what we call the monkey's paw, dude. We were like, let's get Danny Garcia a title defense on pay-per-view.
And here we are.
And this is what we got. And yeah, this whole run feels like a waste. They had him defend against babyfaces practically the entire time. So you can't. It's hard to have any sort of feud with that. I understand it's a television title. You're going to defend it on TV against all comers. I'm cool with that. But yeah, I didn't like this match. The one thing I did, I say, okay, I get that, is where Garcia's getting more and more frustrated. Maybe he's starting to, not be so virtuous during the match. But my biggest problem with this match, and I'm going to do a comparison to another match, not an AEW match, but one that happened within a little over a year now. But Adam Cole legitimately hurt his ankle. They're working the ankle in the match. Adam Cole is not selling the ankle. Do you see my problem here?
Yeah.
In his whole finish, which they did 3 or 4 times, the Panama Sunrise, you're landing
directly on your heels, and then
your heels. Correct. And I'm just like, okay. I don't believe that every match has to be a limb work match. By no means. However, I get pretty upset when you incorporate the idea into the match and then you completely abandon it. When your finish goes against that as well, I'm just like, yo, what are we doing? And then the result feels strange. I'm not feeling this at all.
Yeah, this match, I did not care for this match at all. It seemed really off. Crowd was dead. Daniel Garcia sadly came out to no pop, which has been his whole title run. I just didn't care, honestly. I hope Adam Cole could do something now. Maybe. Turn heel. I don't know.
Yeah, because he didn't turn heel either.
Yeah, that's what I said. I was like, that's what I thought he was going to do, too. It's like, hey, you got to turn heel. Are we going to... Oh, no? We're still going to be face? Cool. So, I don't know.
There's one silver lining that we got with the promo tonight, but I'm going to save that for TV.
Okay, good, because I missed that promo.
Okay. So. No. For sure. Also, because I didn't have my notes open, going back to the women's title match, I did not talk about Toni Storm getting dropped on her head.
Yeah.
Because that's something that happened. My mistake. Sloppy shot. But I did come prepared. I came prepared tonight. Regardless. I'm going to take a wild guess and say that the next match was your match of the night.
Absolutely. This is a PWG match right here, and I'm all for it.
Kenny Omega successfully defending his international championship against Speedball Mike Bailey and Ricochet, who we didn't call it, but he took the pin. But I don't think it hurt him.
No, he's still gonna be over. They're still gonna push him, and either way you look at this, either Mike Bailey or Ricochet, whoever took the pin, they're not losing anything.
Yeah, no, 100%. Because I always say, losing to Kenny Omega is not something that's gonna. I don't think that's something that's ever going to
tarnish your record,
affect someone's standing, because it's Kenny Omega. He's the guy,
the best
in this company, right? Yeah. And did not mention, and this was really my only issue with the match. 30 minutes 56 seconds. I just thought this was way too long.
Yeah, this should have been like a 20-ish minute.
Yeah, you could cut 5-10 minutes on this, make it little.
Looking forward to next, how long that went. In retrospect, you could have cut this by a mile.
Yeah, but what they were doing, I liked the whole lot, and I think a point of this match, and it's something that a lot of matches like this try to do, but I don't think they all often do it successfully, where it's like, the traditional triple threat structure, and a lot of this was established by WWE, who were running this match for a lot longer than other promotions, where it's two guys fight, one guy sells on the outside. It felt like a point, and this isn't a WWE AEW thing, it's just them taking this match idea and trying to do something else with it, where it really felt like they were trying to incorporate everyone at all times. And while I think that's still maybe a little too ambitious, a lot of it worked for me.
Yeah, a lot of the scenarios they set up in this match, where they all used each other to hurt each other kind of situation, like the powerbomb spot. I think it was did Ricochet powerbombed Bailey or something? I forgot who it was, but on the barricade, or onto Kenny Omega, who was on the barricade or something.
Yeah.
That spot was great. There's another spot in the match where I'm pretty sure Mike Bailey destroyed both of his knees.
And he sold the knees well.
And they did it again tonight too, so that was great. That was good storytelling. So. But yeah, this match ruled. I loved it. I love PWG, so this reminded me of PWG. I got this after watching the past two matches before this. This was a good palate cleanser.
Sure. Another multi-man spot too, which I was just like, holy fuck. The double Snapdragon.
But yeah, that I was terrified for that.
The physics of that is just like, oh man, that's just. Yeah, but that's what I'm talking about though. It's like it's not just, hey, we're gonna do a double version of every move. What this felt like, it felt like they were trying to be a lot more clever with the offense instead of just, I'm gonna trade with this guy while you go over here, And then I think where it started to tail off, was a lot of the double pin combinations. I think they maybe stuck on that a little too much, but overall, I had a lot of fun with this. I think you could have trimmed it down a little too much, but the clip I keep watching back, man, Ricochet is so good at eating shit.
I was just about to bring up that spot too, where he's on the announce table talking, and then you just see Mike Bailey's foot fly right into the picture.
Yeah, for the blunders of production in recent weeks, they nailed that.
That one, and then there was one on TV with Penelope Ford and Toni Storm, I think a couple weeks ago, like last week or a couple weeks ago.
Yeah, where she comes flying into front. Yeah,
that was good too.
Yeah, ton of fun. I don't really know what we're doing with Kenny right now. Okada came out after the match, and uncharacteristically, Kenny was just not. It felt like he was not interested.
Yeah, it felt weird. And then tonight was same different, but we'll get to that though.
Yeah, and if you want to call back to World's End, Kenny was the one who confronted Okada.
Yeah.
Now Kenny's kind of just I don't know.
Yeah, so maybe they're just It's setting up for All In. We're just giving it.
Yeah, they're doing the dance, so to speak, until we get to that point. I want to see though what happens with Speedball, and I really want to see what happens with Ricochet now. Because he definitely played this role again tonight. It did a good job of it. But as far as feud wise, because we thought we would get back to Swerve, and Swerve's in a completely different bubble now. So yeah, I'm excited to see what they do with Ricochet, because I'm still enjoying this run. Like, I think he's really hit a nice stride in AEW.
Yeah, I mean, I could probably see him maybe going for the TNT title now if you're gonna keep Adam Cole face.
A good old fashioned NXT Takeover Brooklyn rematch.
Tony Khan loves to repeat history, so I mean,
yeah.
Wrestling likes to repeat history, I should say, not just Tony Khan, but
wasn't that the match where he got super kicked out of the Lion Salt?
Yeah, that match ruled. I need to go back and watch old NXT.
Yeah, we will see what happens with that. Main event time. Jon Moxley defeats Swerve Strickland in 31-14. And I figured he would win. I'm not surprised with the result. I feel like more people are upset with the result. I'm more upset with how he got there, because I think it made everybody involved look bad.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely.
For context, I didn't hate this match until everything started to happen. I think Moxley, he drew blood, he worked the wound, he did some cool stuff. Like, the only thing I would say is this was their second singles match, and I really thought that they would step it up from their tournament match. And I just don't know if these two gel together all that well, but I still didn't hate this.
I hated, I didn't watch, so I fell asleep. Full closure, fell asleep watching the end of this because it was a 9-hour pay-per-view. But when I watched it again the next day, I didn't hate it either. But like you said, something didn't click well with them too. I guess it could never get on the same page, or it never got into second gear to me.
I can see that. Yeah, it didn't hit the expectations of an AEW pay-per-view main event by any means. Like I said, I still liked a lot of what Moxley was doing. I don't know if him and Swerve are all that great together, which is a shame. But before the bell even rang, it was like, I don't know, 10:50 Central.
Yeah, it was late because I was like, there's no way, and I knew in my head, I was like, there's no way I'm staying up. I know, there's no way. I got work in the morning.
Yeah, this whole week I've had to be up an hour early, so I'm thinking, okay, the show will be done. Show will be done at 11. I have plenty of time to just do my nightly routine and then hit it. And I'm looking at the clock and I'm like, man, is this going to be like a rip the Band-Aid type of match? Are they going to go 10 minutes? Is this going to be a sprint? Like, this is different. This is new. Like, they've never done anything like this on pay-per-view. And then they went a half hour. And then all the shit happened. And I'm trying to think, because Tony Khan has said, he's pretty strict about 11:59:59 is their cutoff. And the only time I could think about them going past that was Punk Hangman. And that was by design, because they were going for, and again, I don't like getting into all the business stuff all the time. They were going up against the Eastern Conference Finals. I think that was the Jimmy Butler year. It was Heat Celtics, I want to say.
Is it the bubble year? Or was that
no, it was let me look. No, it was 2022.
Okay.
But regardless, they paced that Double or Nothing to be incredibly long, so the main event went on.
Past that.
After, which, no, that was Celtics. That was Celtics Warriors in the final. Yeah.
Because the other reason Butler's playoff run was in the bubble.
Okay, I'm thinking. Yeah, okay, I'm thinking of something
against the Lakers.
Okay.
Shout out Jimmy Butler.
Yeah. Bulls legend Jimmy Butler. So I was just strange. It was just strange to me because I'm thinking, what could they possibly be going up against? The national championship matches the next night. There's no playoff start for a couple weeks. So I have no idea what happened. If the triple threat just went really long, but Kenny's matches have been going long. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Who else could have eaten time? Nobody cracked 20 minutes, I don't think.
I just think this was by design. I honestly think this was just scheduled by design. That's the only thing I could think of. I don't know, because it was a very slow, methodical, pace match. They didn't gel with, the spots they did do were great. That ladder spot was dope. With the curb stomp from the ladder.
Yeah.
It's at the end of the day, it didn't mean anything with the ending.
No, it didn't. I do want to just cycle back to what I was saying earlier. It's so strange to me. I genuinely am racking my brain over the fact that this show went so late when they didn't have a card finalized on TV. I understand AEW is not a company that often has it all together. And they do a lot of things by the seat of their pants to varying results. A lot of times it works, a lot of times it doesn't. But this just seems so just weird. They've never... This is very unlike them. And I understand, ever since, especially switching over to Max, they have done some different things with structuring shows or main events, etc. This doesn't feel like one of those deliberate, we're going to do this. And if it was, man, was it the wrong decision, because that is such a long main event on such a long show for a wet fart of an ending.
It was very... I texted you. I said, boy, oh boy. Because it was not... Oh, I was mad. I was glad I fell asleep. Because if I would have stayed up for that, I think I would have been more mad, to be 100% honest.
Yeah, I didn't take any notes for this one either. And so forgive me if I'm getting all of the individual run-ins mixed up here. But it's Death Riders and Ops, I get, because it's a Jon Moxley main event with the Death Riders. They're going to do their shtick. I get it. You don't have to like it, but it's just it is what it is, right? The Ops coming out makes sense because Joe said on TV, we are going to be around, and they did not appear the entire show. And that's a natural feud for them, for the Trios belts. Which, again, they followed up on that tonight. I don't know if that'll actually happen now with Pac, but okay, fine. What pisses me off, I don't think you should have Hangman make the save for it to not matter. I wouldn't have had him come out at all.
Yeah,
or after the Bucks.
If you're building up Hangman coming to help Swerve, I would have had him come out later, later on, not tonight, but
there's things that happen in AEW where I feel like they should be these massive, cathartic, almost canonical things that happen. And I feel like the first time Hangman makes the save for Swerve should be one of those. I don't hate the idea of it going wrong because that also lines up with Hangman's character historically. He always messes up when it matters or etc. You know what I mean? He's done it so many times. So that's in line. But just the way they've handled this was such a disaster because it didn't feel like it was about Hangman. It didn't feel like it wasn't that huge, like, oh my god, he's finally gonna, him and Swerve are finally on the same page. It just feels like none of that matters. Lights go out. Here's the Young Bucks.
Yeah.
Can we talk about how long Swerve sold that EVP trigger?
I'm saying, I think he was still laying down there until like this morning.
I'm not taking credit for this. I can't think of the Twitter user off the top of my head, but somebody quoted that with a tweet where it's just like, okay, what happened to this? And this isn't like a selling discourse by any means, but it's funny to take into consideration that this guy no-sold the Busaiku knee at Wembley Stadium.
Oh, I think I did see that. Someone posted on Twitter. I also see another one that said, "I've seen my man staple himself and drink, or staple himself and do all this other, but one EVP trigger, he's down for the count."
And that's what ended the match. So let's lay this all out. Ops and Death Riders not included. That was just typical Death Riders overbooking. This doesn't help Hangman. I was worried this would hurt Swerve. That didn't seem too apparent tonight, thankfully. But Moxley looks terrible now. He didn't beat Swerve.
Yeah.
And then the Bucks beat Swerve. So then Mox cleans up, but then it's like, well, I don't know why you're getting involved in my business. This just felt like they just completely fucked it. Like, just completely missed the mark. I just felt deflated with this ending. And that's never something you want when you pay for a show.
Wait, I got really, and I know they get this a lot, but I got real WCW 2000 vibes from this ending.
I've seen that comparison too.
And I don't try to do that because, like I said, I love wrestling. I like WCW. I don't care. But it's just comparisons I've seen on Twitter. It's just a bad business move, I think, in all aspects of things. Because you're not progressing, you're just regressing now.
Yeah, I can't speak for the WCW comparison. I just haven't, I'll be honest, I haven't watched WCW 2000. Oddly enough, they're getting those shouts when next week they're surpassing Nitro as far as just consecutive weeks on TV.
Yeah.
But so much of this is bad because, okay, I'm glad that, I'm not saying that they won't yet, so I'm holding my breath on this. But I'm glad that this isn't some like the Death Riders were a front for, and like the Bucks were pulling the strings the whole time. It wasn't some shit like that. Mox was like, yo, what do you guys do? Like, I don't know why you're here. The reason why I was so worried about that, and I still am, is because the Death Riders felt like an answer, a correction, and almost an apology to the EVP run. Because Moxley's whole mission statement was, we are not that. We are actually threatening. We have a mission. We have a plan. Granted, they abandoned that after about 6 weeks of TV, so I'm not saying that's what it is now. But if there's any vestige of what was good in the Death Riders, that the Bucks would not be involved. Secondly, I've just been enjoying Kenny and Hangman so much on their own. I don't want them tied back in with or against the Bucks because we've seen it already. And when you're starting this promotion, and these are even if you still are basing your promotion around these guys, and they're on every pay-per-view, and they're on TV, if not every week, then almost every week, right? That's okay, but I don't think they need to be interacting with each other all the time anymore, because I was tired of this 2 years ago. I don't know about you. No, of Kenny the Bucks and Hangman.
No, that whole tree, they're better off by themselves, all four of them. Well, you get it, but I got some notes down for tonight, but there's one person that's missing. All right, where's he at? I know no one else likes him. Where's
you tell me, man. Like, is he gonna be is he the Joker? Or is he the wild card?
I don't see. I mean, he could be actually. Now that actually makes sense. I didn't even think about that one.
I mean, I've been seeing that being brought up like since the pay per view, and I don't think that's. Let me word it to you like this. I don't think that's a terrible way to bring him back.
If you look at the past, because no, that was Okada. Never mind. Carry on.
I don't think it's a terrible way to bring him back, but then it's like, who wins that match? You're gonna bring him back just to lose, but then Hangman. I don't think Hangman should lose.
No, I think it's. I mean,
this is my other problem. If Death Riders are doing, for example, they're doing Anarchy in the Arena, and Moxley's not defending at Double or Nothing, Hangman Ospreay is absolutely a match you can main event an AEW show with. Like, I don't think anybody would question that, regardless of of where you're at with Ospreay. You know what I mean? Like, because I know he's a lot more polarizing than somebody like Hangman, for example. But if Hangman gets taken out of the tournament early, well, then it has to be Fletcher and Ospreay again. And I don't think you should do that match again so soon.
No. Do it when there's, like, maybe a title on the line.
Yeah, wait till, like, if Ospreay's the plan now, I would wait till he's champion.
Yeah, put Kyle Fletcher in that spot that you're pushing him towards. But, yeah, I don't. This booking with this Death Rider is just gives me a headache because they book themselves in circles all the time with this. Like,
yeah, and now it's like if you're pulling Hangman back into the orbit of the Bucks, now the men's tournament could be compromised because there was a clear cut. I mean, not saying that like everything has to be so cut and dry as far as who's winning, but man, like everything just feels all over the place again. And it felt like what the first couple months of TV, maybe if they weren't like blow away like the best Dynamite has been like in years past, it was still consistent enough. And they were still like, they were showing that they're making an effort to get everything back on track since World's End and give you a plan. Hype up the Owen early, hype up the stadium show early. Like they're giving you a clear direction, right? As soon as the lights went up and the Bucks did what they did, I think that's all. I think we're just in limbo now. Everything's up in the air now.
They pretty much just said, well, you're going to tune in anyway, so strap in. So,
yeah.
Because we got zero answers tonight, too, so.
Yeah, so that was AEW Dynasty, which not their best by any measure. I would say watch the tournament matches and watch the Triple Threat if you haven't seen it.
Yeah, those just you don't gotta go out of your way to watch this. Watch a couple matches if you want to. Not their strongest card, not their strongest pay per view, I should say. On paper, it was a good card. But
yeah, the big stuff didn't deliver how maybe it should have. And you could argue if some of that stuff even should have been booked in the first place. But regardless, that was Sunday. We move on to tonight. AEW Dynamite from that show was in Philly. This show was in Baltimore. And we opened with a match that I actually was really enjoying, and I thought it got cut way too short, which, following a pre-tape, was Jon Moxley versus Katsuyori Shibata for the first time ever.
Yeah, I wanted more in this. It was 5 minutes and 38 seconds, but with the new Ops and Death Rider feud, we're going to be getting a lot of matches that I really want to see a Samoa Joe and Claudio match again. Give me that Ring of Honor vibe.
Yeah, and let's stay on that for a sec before we get into more elite drama. I'm kind of just laying out the chess pieces here, right? And I understand that the whole idea of this is probably Anarchy in the Arena and Blood and Guts, which I'm really shocked that Tony Khan does this, because if anybody needed to change that thought process of we do this gimmick at this show, it would be AEW, because WWE did that for like 15 years, was it?
Yeah.
Well, we do Hell in a Cell in October. We do Tables, Ladders, and Chairs in December.
Money in the Banks at WrestleMania. Yeah.
Yeah, and then like it got its own show. I just don't think that you need to be throwing everything in the blender just because you have to do the stip. The stip should serve the feud, you know?
Mm-hmm.
And I'm going to make one more point before we get into TV, because this was something I was mulling over today as well. I don't think we should have Anarchy in the Arena this year. They should just do Stadium Stampede. Remember how awesome that was at Wembley?
Yeah, I like the Stadium Stampede.
Yeah, and that's a great way to get a ton of people on the card and have a crazy.
That was a highlight of the COVID era too.
Yeah, and it's a good way to just get like 10 people on the card for the big show and just have like a really messed up party match. Like Mill always talks about, Big Bro always talks about how at the Wembley one, Penta gimmick changing mid match.
Yeah.
From Penta to Penta Oscuro. But I think that given that they're doing the stadium in America for the first time, you should just do Stadium Stampede and not Anarchy in the Arena if you don't have a feud for it. They clearly do not. They do not need to be shoehorning the Elite stuff in with the Death Rider stuff. But I'm still worried that's where we are going. But yeah, Mox Shibata, I was enjoying this for the 5 minutes that we got, and I feel like just when they were really starting to kick it up into that next gear, they went home early, so the Young Bucks could have a promo. So naturally, you could imagine where I was at with that.
My notes, this first 30 minutes are like a 2-paragraph essay of notes, because it's just one thing after another. They streamline a lot of things here.
Yeah, because it was like the Mox pre-tape went into the match, which went into the Bucks coming out, which went into Kenny coming out, which turned into the Pac Swerve match that unfortunately got cut short due to injury. But they really tried to dovetail a lot of things here. Yeah, what are your thoughts with all this stuff? Like with Kenny coming out and
I thought Kenny coming out seemed a little weird. Like he didn't know what to say, or he kept pausing a lot, and he kept trying to get the laugh over with the crowd. The cuck chair reference was funny. I did chuckle at that. Like you said, it's just setting up for one of those Anarchy. But I would much rather not see Kenny and Okada don't need to be in it. They could do their own thing.
Yeah, because if you don't have the Death Riders in it, and you only keep it in this bubble, the Elite Vortex, we can call it, then that would be the Bucks, Okada, and Perry, and then it would be Hangman, Kenny, Swerve, and one more. And I don't know who that would be at this point.
Yeah, and then I mean, all signs point to Hanger, right?
Yeah, I said Hangman.
Oh, you're saying
yeah, Hangman, Swerve, Kenny Omega, and they would need a fourth.
Oh, yeah. I thought of one. Darby.
If he's back in time, that would probably. I mean, yeah, but then again, his bone to pick is with Moxley.
Yeah, so see, they interwebbed everything.
Yeah, they gotta, but they did it to a fault. Like they need to. I understand they have 6 weeks of TV to burn here, but they need to really organize this because I don't know what's happening. And that doesn't necessarily motivate me to tune in week to week. I am still going to, they know it too. But it's like, yeah, I want some clarity on this because I think, like you said, this only complicated things more. Really bummed out about the Pac Swerve stuff. Just because, like, I was pretty excited for that match. And I hope Pac's okay.
Yeah, I actually walked away during this. My friend, I came back and my buddy said that Pac got hurt, so I didn't get to catch much of this one.
Yeah, he fell to the outside and he couldn't put any weight on his foot, and essentially, because like they had like a unofficial stoppage of Doc Samson came out, and another official came out, and they were just communicating what is happening. And I thought they were just gonna just call it right then and there, because if you can't get back in the ring, like, you have to call it. No, Pac went beast mode and just went full core and upper body strength. Got himself into the ring, put himself in a position to take a swerve stomp to get the heat back on Swerve. So, all the credit in the world to Pac for that one.
Yeah, that sucks, man. Like, Pac is always ready to go too. I guess his ankles aren't.
Yeah, and it really sucks. I feel like we just got him back.
Yeah, he was out with something else, with a shoulder, neck, something. But
he got written off. He got written off from Cope, and then I feel like he takes breaks because he still lives in England. And then I think not too long ago he was having visa issues. So it's like we keep getting spurts of Pac, but I would just like him to be around a lot more because he's great.
Yeah. So, I hope we get well soon.
Yeah. I hope it's nothing too serious, and regardless of the injury, I hope he has a speedy recovery, because that's just, it sucks. There's no way around it. It sucks. After that, if I got my facts straight, it was the promos for the $400,000 8-man tag.
Yeah, right before that, though, we had a quick segment with Renee and Hangman. And then Hangman confronted Nana.
Okay, I had that written down. I just had it out of order.
So yeah, no problem. But yeah, it confronts Nana looking for Swerve. Just to tell him that he was out there to not help Swerve. And then Nana tried to apologize, but Hangman pretty much told him to fuck off.
Yeah, and like I said, they're going to do their own dance until they are on the same page. So this is more supplementary to me.
Yeah.
Because, I'm assuming the game plan is, if it's not a double or nothing, it'll be, when Hangman and Swerve are a tag team for the first time, it'll be to fight the Young Bucks.
Yeah, absolutely.
Then, was the Mercedes promo before or after the match?
Let me see. I don't think I wrote it down.
Okay, we could just talk about it now. It was more of just recapping the first match of the tournament, and it was a pre-tape backstage with Mercedes and Harley Cameron. But it was to announce that the winner of Harley Cameron versus Athena will face Mercedes next week in Boston. So
I did write down. I didn't write down the promo, but I did write down a theory that I have.
Let's hear it.
I think Mercedes gonna come out and help Harley win. Because think about it, she's not going to fight Athena. She wants to take the easy route, right?
That's true.
Boom, wins, and that brings Harley in. Athena can come out and cause heart, but I just all hypothetical. I'm just in my head, and because I was like, well, the winner of this faces Monet. I was like, oh, I can see that happening. I can see Monet costing Athena to set the bigger matchup at the pay-per-view. Maybe.
Yeah, I'm not out ruling it. Like, I could see that happening, especially because the way Athena came back, she made Mercedes look pretty bad. I'm not opposed to just doing the match on TV because especially for its hometown for Mercedes and for the special, it's a brand, one of those branded episodes.
Yeah.
Uh, like
Like one of those event ones or whatever. Yeah.
Yeah, it's them just kind of winking and nodding that they are passing Nitro, but you still want a big match for it, and I think Athena Mercedes is a really big match. And if we get it next week, I'm not going to complain whatsoever.
Yeah, no, I'm not either. I just was looking at it on paper. I was like, yo, if I was booking the show, I'd go that route. Just because the payoff would be better, I think.
Kind of just have them costing each other.
Yeah,
then
because
ultimately.
Yeah, I mean, but the way that it's gonna be, I'm tuning in to wherever that match happens, so it doesn't matter.
Yeah, I'm just trying to think if. Well, that would put Harley Cameron in the final.
That's what I said. And I looked at it. I said, never mind. But hey, in my head, it sounded better.
Yeah, we'll see. I'm more curious to see who comes out of the other side of the bracket because I think that Statlander, spoilers for the tournament match tonight, but the Statlander Jamie Hayter, that's a big match too. So like I said, we talked about this last week. The first round of this tournament is pretty predictable, but then when you get to the second round, there's some big names in there. So I'm excited to see where this continues. But before we get to that, we had a couple more. I'm getting ahead of myself. We have a couple more things. I believe next is the $400,000 8-man tag.
Yeah, the PWG match.
Yeah, this is I want to say it was our first show on here, and I'm like, I wonder why AEW don't do the party tags as often. And I'll ask it again because they don't have to do it every week. But I'll tell you what,
This ruled.
This was so much fun. Like
I said, why is it a $400,000 match? I said, whatever, don't care. I looked at who's in the match, and I said, I am sold at all 8 of these men. But I also wrote down here, I had a cage match it. They did wrestle before, it looks like, but I wanted to speedball Mike Bailey and Mordo's match, but it looks like they wrestled at PWG.
I want to say that was Speedball's debut
In PWG?
in AEW.
Against Mordos?
Yeah. Am I tripping?
I don't remember.
I got cage match up now. Let's see. Mike Bailey match guide. Yeah, March 12th.
Hey, my brain. But hey, I need more then, because I want more of this.
Well, yeah, I mean, it's a natural pairing. Mortos is a good base for all Speedball stuff. And I mean, hey, I mean, who's to say they won't do it again? But, yeah, I mean, this is just one of those cases where, I can be stingy with a lot of the spotty stuff. I think it's more in like the application as far as like if this is supposed to be like a this big epic emotional match and then they're doing all kinds of shit, then I'm like, all right, like reel it in a little bit. But the whole purpose of this match was to just have a good time.
Oh yeah, it's a party match.
And I had a great time with this.
Yeah, me and my buddies watched it. I was like, I'm sold. I'm with this.
And going back to what I was saying about Ricochet, like, man, he's such an awesome stooge.
That spot where they all slapped him on the head, great. I'll say it once, I'll say it again. I was like, this is some of the best work he's done, and I like what they're doing with him. They're gonna keep pushing him.
Yeah, no, I'm with you, and I also think that they're able to play at the bald stuff without derailing the match because were you at the Thanksgiving Dynamite this year?
I was not, but my buddy was, and he was telling me about the chance of bald.
Yeah, and it really like took over, like it hijacked the match essentially.
Was it similar to the meat?
Worse.
Oh, okay.
Like, well, I'm sure it was supposed to be like a rib, But it was Claudio, Ricochet, and then they had Rick Knox ref the match.
Oh yeah, they did that on purpose.
Yes, there was like no shred of hair to be found. But the point being was that like it got to the point to where like the wrestlers couldn't keep going, like they had to acknowledge it. This feels so much more of like a way for Ricochet to eat shit and to have it be funny without detracting from the match itself. Because they did something similar in the three-way, and this was just more of it. And I'm like, you know what? This is so over the top.
The three-way one. That's when Bailey and Omega were just taking turns slapping him on the head. This one, all four of them collectively just slapped him on the head like some Three Stooges style, and it was great. I said,
it was like the Megazord form.
Yeah, I was like, the Power Rangers just defeated him, and I was like, oh, this is great. But it was honestly a good showcase match too for all 8 men.
Yeah, I mean they kept up the momentum with Kevin Knight. I was happy to see Leo Rush on Dynamite again, because he's another guy that they keep on Collision for the most part.
I was glad to see Leo Rush back in the wrestling ring. Because there was a time there where he didn't know what he wanted to do, but I'm glad he's found it. He's back.
Yeah. No more retirements unless you don't want to do it anymore.
Yeah, unless you're finally. But I was sad when he said he was retiring and coming back. I said, man, you're too talented. But I'm glad he's back. I'm glad he's getting showcased a little bit on TV, even on Collision, because that's still something. But I need more Beast Mortos on my TV, so give me that.
Yeah. No, I got nothing more than just a whole lot of fun and a good way to keep up with some guys who have been heavily featured. Obviously, Ospreay, Bailey's still fresh, Mark Briscoe's still one of the best there is, and like everybody else that we mentioned. Just good job all around for what this was. Great time. Let me check where we're at. Oh, yeah, now we're getting back into the Hurt Syndicate MJF stuff. And,
right quick before that, Siobhan, they brought up the FTR thing again.
Shivani had a little promo.
Yo, Dax is gonna hurt him. I wrote down here. I said, yeah, Dax gonna lay my man's out next time he sees him.
Especially too because Shivani's play-by-play for Collision.
Yeah, I was like, he mentioned his daughter. Dax coming with the heat. So, But yeah, and then now it's the Hurt Syndicate. Yeah, but I just really put that out there that Shivani they never really do that. Like Shivani kind of just stays as a analyst or as an interviewer. They never really like focus on him. So I had to write that one down. That was a little different.
Yeah, because Shivani is usually the guy to really lament like when somebody does something underhanded.
Yeah.
And this was just taking it a step further. So yeah, that worked. I had no issue.
Yeah, I had no issue with it. I just know. I feel like maybe I could, but I feel like Dax is gonna confront.
They're setting the table. They're building to get you to tune in on Saturday, and I do want to see what they do first, like because you give that much breathing space to that angle, and I'm curious to see how they follow up. So setting the table for that. I'm gonna be honest with you. I really am starting to get tired of them dragging out this MJF stuff.
Yeah, just pull the trigger already. I didn't really care either way. I get what they're trying to do. Like, he's just trying to find friends or whatever. They're good by themselves, though. They don't need the MJF thing.
No, and I don't know what the plan is. Like, either he's in the faction, or if you do a singles with him and Bobby, then the tag titles aren't being defended. Again, like, you gotta do some housekeeping with these things. MJF's shoes were looking crazy with like the Burberry slippers, but other than that, I didn't get much out of this at all. And I think that like what they've done as of late, like Shelton and Bobby are not known for their promos, but I think they've been good. And obviously, I think MVP is one of the best there is. Like going like as of right currently, like I think MVP is one of the best on the mic. So I think walking away from segments just indifferent when you have guys who can talk. It just feels a little empty and meandering, and I kind of was like, okay, this program is behind because of the Blizzard show, but we're still doing this game, And I don't know. I hope they resolve this because I'm starting to get like, all right, guys, let's go.
My buddy made a good point. He said, well, now after, but he made this point before after the other promo that we'll get into in a little bit. But he said, well, now since he helped him win the titles, what happens if he just cost him the titles? But then that was before the other segment with the Hurt Syndicate.
Yeah, which I mean, we'll find out. I don't think that should happen anytime soon because, like I was talking about on the pay-per-view, I just don't think the Hurt Syndicate have hit the best of their run yet. Like two misses on pay-per-view, that isn't their fault. It's like I want to get more out of this before they take the belts off.
I don't see you're going to keep the belts on it for a little bit because there's nobody that's going to take the belts off them. I don't see that happening anytime soon anyway.
Sure. Then I've written down nice shoes. If I'm not mistaken, after that was the Megan Bayne promo. Well, it was more of a Penelope Ford promo.
Yeah, just pretty much putting over Bayne again.
Just to keep her on screen after the narrow loss. But they did the dovetail here with Toni Storm on commentary shortly after.
Yeah.
And which she's always talking crazy on commentary, but she said something about like leaving her chewing tobacco in Tony Schiavone's car or something. Like she was on 10 tonight. But
my girl off of being 24/7.
Stat Thunder I thought was okay. It was good.
I actually wrote down this was my match of the night.
Yeah, like I mean I could see that
because and then I wrote down some other notes here. Like Thunder Rosa has been really impressing me the last couple of weeks, so I just wanted to jot that down. That I've actually have been I've always wanted to like Thunder Rosa, but I don't know, like it's never translated to television. I guess maybe like she had a few good matches, like her stuff with Britt and all that, but lately I've been actually enjoying her matches.
I think her and Tony have good chemistry too.
Yeah.
I like this. I think the way Stat won was a little sudden because it was a babyface versus babyface. So like Thunder didn't necessarily have like a ton of control, so to speak. But there was like a sequence where she was hitting all kind of big stuff, and it's just like Stat kept kicking out, and then she just won. So that felt a little sudden, but I didn't think this was bad by any means. I actually thought this was pretty good. I think it was like I said with the rest of the first round, kind of a foregone conclusion. But for the struggles we've talked about with Thunder, not necessarily as a wrestler, but more so of just kind of finding her place on TV with how much has changed after her really long absence. It was over a year, if I'm not mistaken. This felt more comfortable. Like it felt like I didn't feel like she was out of place here by any means.
Yeah, no, I kind of figured, like I said, we all kind of figured Statlander was winning, but I was really shocked. This match was really good. Just excited to see where it looks like they're kind of building Thunder to be another contender.
Yeah, which I mean, she's been a part of Tony's previous reigns, and I liked both matches. Yeah. The two off the top of my head being the very first Forbidden Door, which was a good match. They just didn't give them a lot of time, and they wrestled last year at either Dynasty or Double or Nothing, and I actually thought it was one of the better matches of Tony's reign, with like the first timeless reign. So that would work for me. I'm not opposed to that because Tony is going to need some challengers here soon. After that, that was the Callis promo, correct? In a very strange announcement, the Don Callis family are recruiting. Is this the end for the Walking Weapon?
Yeah, that's what I wrote down here too. I said, with the way that everything's shaping up, looks like the Walking Weapon might be joining the Callis family.
Which, I mean, the Canadian
Yeah.
ties are there. That would make sense. So we were calling it for the wild card. It might be something else, and it might be this. So I think that's one you stick a pin in for now and figure out when. I mean, I don't know if when they announced. I think Hangman said he's going to be starting his Owen campaign next week. They just didn't announce on which show. But given that it's Hangman, I'm assuming that'll be on Dynamite.
Yeah, I'm assuming it's going to open up a Dynamite. I did not see the edit. I came back in as it was coming off the TV.
So the two things that I kind of raised my eyebrows at, well, Adam Cole had to say, I mean, it was more of just him kind of being earnest about how difficult the last couple years were, and how like now like he feels like he's, he's catching some fire and he wants to go on a run. But Roddy and Kyle were with him, and he basically said, now it's time for you guys to go get yours. And I'm totally on board with a Kyle and Roddy tag run again.
Yeah, I'm with that.
Yeah, like that's like I'm 100%. That was where I'm like, okay, you're talking me into this. I still don't love the whole choice, but I'm like, hey, like I will 100% take regular Roddy and Kyle tag matches, and honestly, I think they would tear the house down with Hurt Syndicate.
It'd be pretty badass, and like if you want to do, and honestly, you want to do like a good like smaller babyface team. If you're gonna push them as baby faces to go against the monsters that are the Hurt Syndicate, that'd be a good team to go against.
Mm-hmm. And another thing too, Adam Cole specifically used the phrase like "we are the Paragon," which
He kept saying that.
Which I'm not mistaken, Paragon was trademarked all the way back when he signed.
Yeah, I believe that's what they were originally going to call that, the Undisputed Kingdom or whatever. I was just also thinking, how mad are you if you're Matt Taven and Bennett?
I was going to say they ain't the Kingdom much anymore.
Yeah, and I was like, yeah, y'all just kick them to the curb, huh?
Yeah, and I get it. They don't want two tag teams, but they definitely got cut a raw deal because anytime they were used, like I enjoyed watching them.
Yeah, I don't mind them. I wasn't the big Matt Taven guy in the original Ring of Honor run.
I mean, yeah, he never should have been champion.
Yeah, well, that's a whole nother can of worms.
Right? Yeah.
But like, I never really cared for him. But like, as a tag team, I always dug the Kingdom in New Japan and stuff. So I hope they find. Maybe they hope they go back to Ring of Honor and kind of get predominantly used down there.
Yeah, and I mean, like, I could see them. I mean, even just throwing them a bone and giving them the tag belts, and like, I'd be down to see him work with Dustin because Dustin hasn't been around either. So, yeah. So, hopefully we will see them around soon. Because I could definitely see them changing the name. Because the Kingdom is nowhere to be found. So, I am with you on that.
But I also did read that Maria Kanellis doesn't work there anymore. So maybe.
Yeah, which I mean, some of the things she's been teasing, maybe she doesn't have the best experience there, which is unfortunate.
Yeah.
So maybe there is some friction there, but I mean that's only speculation until proven otherwise. I ain't gonna talk much about the Jericho segment, but it's just.
I just wrote down. I hope Big Bill throws Jericho through the TV. ... Well, fuck. So that's what I put.
Yeah, beat you to it, but. Yeah, I just get it over with, man. I don't care about this.
Yeah, I don't care about none of this at all.
Main event, though, I thought was cool. And I'm with you, because my first note was just Joe Claudio exchanges. Hell yeah, dude.
Yeah.
That is
Before this, though, we did have the that other Hurt Syndicate little quick little thing,
that's right.
and
I had it written down too. I'm just jumping the gun.
it's just nothing to write home about other than Shelton saying like we don't need. Shelton's starting to come around to what an MJF, I think, because he said we don't need him, but he sure is funny. And then Lashley walks out, and I wrote down. I actually think does it lead to Lashley versus MJF, and MJF if MJF wins, he's in like blood in, blood out style.
Maybe I could see that. I could see that actually because I feel like at some point, like this is the match they're gonna do. Like it's gonna be Lashley MJF. I just don't know
the ramifications of it or anything of that nature. But I wrote down right here. I was like, are they leading up to a match? And I feel like that could be the way to get him. Maybe I don't know, but
yeah, 'cause I know his motivations are to get back to the belt. But what I will say is that I'm glad that they found is as much as I was complaining about like, all right, like just like tell us what you're doing here, right? As much as I do feel like they're starting to meander with this, I'm relieved that they have something for MJF to do that isn't just revolving around a belt. You know, like they found a place for him on the card, like where he's still featured, but it's not like you're not holding anyone hostage. You're not having to cram him into like a title scene. Like it feels a lot more efficient. Like I think this is the best use of him since he's come back.
Yeah, he's a good guy for a group, like to intermingle with groups, because if you think about like his whole career in AEW, he was with he was with the Cody, the Nightmare family a little bit, if you want to count that. But then he went to the Jericho thing, and then he did the Pinnacle, and now it's always that. So, like, he does have that, like, reputation of trying to get friends to get him to the top. So I do like they're sticking with that, but I also like it's not in the title picture right. It doesn't involve the title at the moment.
Yeah, and they're not also, like, playing dumb to the fact that, like, this guy comes into groups and ruins them. Like, that's why they don't
I love that. I love that they're
like,
keeping that in canon. That's great.
Correct. So yeah, more of the same from earlier, just like, you know, with those tidbits. It's always been MVPs for it. The tag guys are, I mean, Sheldon showed a little bit of some of the cracks here.
Yeah.
Yeah, so hopefully we get some breakthroughs on that soon. Main event for TV though, I did think was pretty good. I wanted more Joe, personally. But again, that's a nitpick. This was very much Hook's match.
This was like a Hook showcase match.
Yeah, this was Hook's match, and I know Joe thinks very highly of him. And when you're putting him in there with somebody like Claudio, who, like I said before, he's one of the best tag workers ever. I mean, like if you look at his track record, it made sense with a lot of the control. Yuta got quite a lot of time as well, but I'm with you. I see Claudio and Joe in the graphic together, and I'm like, all right, let's do it.
Yeah, I was like, let me see that. Let me get that Ring of Honor 2005 shit. Like, but like,
they wanted. Oh, good.
I really enjoyed this match though, for a good main event.
Yeah, and we got to talk about the ending because, like, are they just gonna go like Freebirds rule with these belts because of having Moxley being choked out at the end? I thought that was supposed to be Pac the whole time.
I bet it was supposed to be Pac, and they just audibled.
Yeah, they kind of had to.
Because I guarantee you Swerve was supposed to come out also at some point. Or maybe not, because he's with the Bucks now, so maybe that doesn't make sense. So yeah, but I feel like that should have been Pac, and then yeah. It just, now it's just with him getting hurt, it kind of just more writing backwards, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah. But overall, cool match. I totally get how much, like, putting that much heat on Hook. Him being able to do that cutoff with the suplex works. But I think to get him back on track, a lot of people soured on Hook, but I'm like, yo, he was in the program with Jericho for like 8-9 months. Like,
Yeah, he got sucked in that Jericho vortex where it sucked all of his charisma out of it, like all of his, pop behind him. But I'm still a Hook guy. I don't care.
Yeah, so I think in this program where he is going to work with Claudio, working with Moxley, like it'll be a bit more of a positive influence on him. So I'm curious to see where this goes. Again, though, it does really suck what happened with Pac. So that's why when Joe went off the air, like saying we're coming for those trios titles, and they hit him with the censor too. I didn't even catch what he said, but
he said, "Death Riders." He said, "Y'all sound like y'all act like some dick riders."
Okay.
I had to read lips, but
okay, yeah, there you go. Yeah, then it has to be because I'm like, did they just not communicate that like Pac's hurt? So, although I'm not going to complain about adding Moxley into the mix because laying out all the pieces, it's clearly going to build to one of these gimmick matches. But I'm like, yo, if you have the chance to do Jon Moxley versus Samoa Joe in a world title program, you would be stupid not to.
Mm-hmm.
So that's the match I want. And that was AEW Dynamite. So, like we talked about before we went on the air, I asked Chris if he was feeling any better with the outcome. And it's a bit more murky than we would have liked. But I would at least say that I'm definitely more wait and see than I'm just like ready to just jump ship.
Yeah, no, I'm still in. I'm riding it out.
Yeah.
I just have more questions again than answers, but hey, we're still early into this. We got a couple more weeks until some build up for Double or Nothing, right? So yeah, I'm not gonna pass judgment too soon.
Yeah, so stick with the show as we progress here and more things become clear. I know we're going a little bit long, but there are still a few things to talk about if you're hanging out.
I'm chilling, man.
So I skimmed through Monday Night Raw today just to, get a finger on the pulse for this Mania build. And did you see anything from the World Wrestling Federation in the last week?
I watched Raw, and then I watched clips. I watched SmackDown too. The Chicago show that I almost bought tickets for. I almost went, but I decided better judgment not to go.
Yeah, I didn't make this one. It was just never really in consideration. Just like between like money and time and stuff. My brother and I did actually have this on live. I was in and out of the room, but I just said, you know what, we're kicking back on some beers, like let's just put it on, we'll catch Punk segment and whatnot. So I watched the Punk stuff and I watched the Phoenix debut from SmackDown, and I figured the favor would be Heyman and Punk's corner. Monday kind of muddles that a little bit as far as where they're going, but it was basically the CM Punk victory lap now that he got the main event. But again, it all comes down to they just kind of gave them the main event because Roman either goes first or last. But I don't know. I thought it was fine. And I thought Phoenix debut, like aside from, Nathan Frazier ate shit on the one dive, but other than that, it was cool.
Yeah, it's the same thing I did with the Pentagon debut. A good match for Nathan Frazier too. Getting him called up would have been crazier if it was Axiom, but hey, beggars can't be choosers. But I also, did you happen to see the other big thing that they're talking about? The Charlotte Flair, Tiffany Stratton.
Okay, so I've been tapped in. I didn't watch the segment, but I was just scrolling through the old social media. And I just got the indication that the segment died on its ass. I did not know that they were shooting.
Oh, they were shooting from the hip, cowboy. But Charlotte was the first one to pull the trigger, and then Tiffany just had to respond as a defense mechanism. From what I'm reading, this is all just what I'm reading, speculation, nothing of that. It was when Tiffany rolled out of the ring. That was her leaving to make the situation try to less, because if she would have stayed there, it would have kept on going. I don't know, because whoever gave Tiffany that promo gave her all the bullet points to hit, and she hit all of them on cue, but then it just spiraled out of nowhere.
Yeah, and this is carrying over from the satellite promo where, it went off the rails.
Yeah.
It's something I've talked about, to where they don't train these kids on improv. Everything is so structured and micromanaged that when somebody gets a little big for their boots, like Charlotte has, they have no answer for it. I mean, Tiffany's done it in matches too. When something goes wrong, like, they just have not prepared her for this.
And it's no fault of her own. It was just, they just didn't know. But I will say, she did play to the crowd, like, with the crowd helping her. But at the same time, I guarantee, I'm gonna 100% say that Charlotte did it first, because it got to a point to where Charlotte couldn't talk. The crowd in Chicago was just booing her, wouldn't let her talk, and she was flustered and didn't know how to react to that.
I can't wrap my head around why they're going through with this in the first place. Because rumor and innuendo is that, like, Charlotte wanted to be the babyface, and just Tiffany's too popular. She's going to flip. When she wins the belt, it's going to be a big deal, and just eventually she's gonna flip. And it happened organically. Like, you can't, like,
her winning that Money in the Bank.
Yeah, like, this was all by, like, you could see it from a mile away. The company is telling you this. It's WWE. A lot of times they're going to telegraph these things. And I just don't understand why you give the Rumble and the match to Charlotte when she's, like, doing everything in her power to torpedo this whole thing.
So, the more things change, the more they stay the same. Like, that's the only thing I can think of. Some of the things WWE's doing, it's been awesome. They've been on the right path, but then you still have this, who, I want Tiffany to win, but history tells me that she's not. Like.
Yeah, and I'm like, what the hell does this look like in the ring now? Because I just said it a few minutes ago. Tiffany's a step-by-step worker with everything she does. That a lot of wrestlers are, but what happens? I'm not going to suggest Charlotte's going to take liberties at WrestleMania. That would be like, you have to be I mean, I'm not out ruling it entirely, but I'm like, you have to be a certain level of
I don't think
self-serving.
I feel like she's a good shit talker, but I don't think she's gonna. I think she learned her mistake in that Nia Jax match one time.
And that was on a Thunderdome Raw. This is your biggest payday of the year. Like, again, getting to the business side of things, like, this is your biggest show for an individual and for the company.
You have all the eyes in the world on you. So, I get it. I honestly don't think she would either. And I don't think Tiffany would. They could probably be professional in the ring, but I don't know. I put Charlotte in the same category as I put Chris Jericho. I don't want to see them on my TV.
Yeah, and I just don't understand, like, why she thought, like, I haven't missed her. I wasn't happy with the Rumble win. Like, it's just, again, she came back, and when she came back and got hurt right away, it was different then, and now it's way different now. It's like you have to find where you fit, and instead they're just like, nope, we're shoehorning Charlotte into the main event. Or not the main event, but the world title program once again. I wouldn't say I'm excited for this match, but I definitely have a sick curiosity as far as, like, how do you get this to the finish line? Because it's just, like, I've seen some suggestions that they're, like, this is all, like, worked shoot to where, like, hey, maybe if we rattle some cages, it'll get people more interested, because, like, Like, it's like I don't think, but I'm also like, that's just not something they're known. It just doesn't make sense.
Well, there's no way, because the way that Charlotte said, the way Kaiser was in her DM, she said it off like, you could tell she just said it off the cuff, like she didn't say it.
Yeah, it was very was very loose with like the whole just like almost. Oh, by the way, like she had to get the last word.
Yeah,
like it was that's what I'm trying to say. Yeah, man, it's strange. I don't know, and I could talk in circles about this, but I won't. More than I already have. But that's one to keep an eye on for sure, because I mean they have 2 SmackDowns left. They have Friday night, and then it's go home. So, which Cena has been announced for the Vegas SmackDown.
Yeah, I did see that.
So
and I was also surprised to see Roman Reigns on SmackDown.
Yeah, so they got Roman in for a couple more TVs, because I know we were a little concerned with the lack of Roman and Cena for these they are the main event programs now. So Roman will be on Monday, and Cena will be on the next week's SmackDown. So, or no, excuse me. Yeah, that would be next week's SmackDown. Man, Mania week's already here. That's crazy. My takeaways from Raw, I didn't really get much out of any of the big angles. Like, I know the women's triple threat will be something I'll enjoy, but I don't think the program has been anything to write home about. Because we all just like, oh, Rhea's gonna get into the match, and she did. Okay, I just want to see the match now. I don't think the Jay promo necessarily. It felt more lateral, like it didn't. I don't think you could really reach the heights that they did last week, which is fine. Like, that was the big angle with Big Jim. And then I don't know how to feel about the Seth Paul stuff, because I feel like if that is where they're going, I don't think that makes any sense with Punk and Roman. Like, I feel like this whole thing is about Punk and Roman.
Yeah, that's pretty much it. And then me and my other buddy were talking about how, like, this WrestleMania feels very WrestleMania 2000-ish in a sense of a lot of multi-man matches. A lot.
By the way, because the Intercontinental one got confirmed.
Yeah.
Dude, so I thought they edited the spear to Carlito.
Oh, no. My man.
That's how fast he was.
Yeah, that was awesome.
It looked like they cut out part of the clip, but he was just going so fast, and then did like a damn barrel roll out of it. Like, dude, I'm like, man, that should be that's the guy right there. But yeah, I don't really know, because I saw Seth and Punk were confirmed for Raw. So, all right, I'll see what's going on here, but it was basically just a Seth Paul Heyman promo, and I think it's just a way to plant the seed of doubt to think Heyman can end up, like, Heyman's loyalty is basically what's driving this thing, which I can see. I just think it needs to be between Punk and Roman right now, because eventually that's going to splinter off into its own thing. So the angles didn't do much for me, but I liked Bayley and Lyra in their title match, and there was some cool stuff in the LWO American Made Multi-Man too.
Yeah, oh yeah, the American Made. He got a match too.
Dude, that should be a really good match. I just wish
I wish it was Chad Gable against Rey Mysterio.
Yeah, and that's just more of.
I think it leads to a mask versus something match.
I just kind of assume that, like, Rey will beat him and then they'll take the mask.
Yeah, or that too, yeah.
Because I don't think this needs to be a long-term thing. It shouldn't be a thing to begin with, so let's just end it at the big show. But that's all I got for WWE.
Yeah, nothing much really. Raw wasn't.
Yeah, it was a bit of a quiet one, but we're about to turn the corner here into Mania week, which we're going to have to talk about it next week because we will do our usual TV rundown, but we're going to have to preview a whole lot of stuff with all the indie shows. I will have to do my homework and see because I think I'm more interested in the because now there's two big groups running shows, and I'm very interested in like the DPW stuff and like the DPW West Coast Prestige, Stardom, Dragon Gate block. But I don't know where any of the if any of these shows are, if they're airing live, I should say. So I will come prepared next week, and instead of going through every single show, I'm going to give you a handful of matches that I'm looking forward to.
That's right. Yeah. That's
Might be the way to do it.
Yeah, we're just talking about some matches we're looking for because
we'll do like a primer or like a handful. Yeah, so
most of mine are on that Bloodsport card though.
Yeah, there's some cool stuff announced on that. So next week we'll do a little bit of a WrestleMania week primer, or instead of going way too long than we already are and talking about every single thing that's happening, I got to make sure that they're actually airing live, and then we'll go into some highlights. And before we go, we actually have a show in our neck of the woods on Friday night. That being New Japan of America presents Windy City Riot from the Wintrust Arena. And I did just want to preview this show briefly because on paper it seems pretty cool, I would say.
Oh yeah, it's going to be a good night. There's just some professional wrestling in Chicago during C2E2 weekend, which is pretty stoked to do that one as well.
Yeah. So I'm not going to include the kickoff match because that's more of like dojo stuff. Opener's a little strange. It was is TJP versus Filthy Tom Lawler, which I'm used to. I mean, Team Filthy's no more, and then like I'm used to seeing TJP in United Empire stuff. So this would just be a straight up one-on-one match and an interesting styles clash, which high flyer versus a shooter. But the more you go down this card, my main takeaway is that there's a lot less AEW involvement from the last couple of years. Which I think is an indication that New Japan is just a little bit more stable coming out of the pandemic, and now they're saying, hey, like, this is what we're running with, this is what we're showcasing, etc. So, I'll keep going, and then if you have anything to add, feel free. Match number 2. Number 1 contenders match for Mercedes Moné's Strong Women's Championship. Azumi is challenging the newly signed for All Elite Wrestling, Mina Shirakawa.
Yeah, I didn't know this match was happening. Like I said, I just looked at the card like tonight. I like to get surprised when I go to these things sometimes, but I was like, let me see. I'm stoked to see Mina Shirakawa wrestle. I don't think I've ever seen her wrestle live. If I did, it probably was maybe like a dark match on AEW or something.
Yeah, I'm trying to think. I know she was on the Strong Show last year, and then she did at the November Dynamite. She did some tape stuff for Collision. But this is I think this will be a cool match. Azumi is she's essentially graduated from being the premier high speed wrestler in that division in Stardom. Very, very fast paced, but she's also got a lot of submissions in her arsenal. And Mina loves to work the legs, so that's like a natural slow her down by working the limb. And you could kind of see where they're going with that. I do think Azumi will win this match though, because she's already like called out Mercedes, so I think they got their continuity a little mixed up. But I think it'll be cool. I think you get a little bit of Stardom flavor on the show, which is always nice. Third on the card, New Japan Strong Openweight Tag Team Championship match. The Intergalactic Jet Setters of Kevin Knight and Kushida are challenging the now known as the World Class Wrecking Crew, formerly known as the West Coast Wrecking Crew, Royce Isaacs and Jorel Nelson. I'm really excited for this match because I think the Wrecking Crew are severely underrated. And I've been a Kushida fan for a long time, and we've been praising Kevin Knight on here for the past couple of weeks. Interesting clash here because this is open weight. These are 2 junior heavyweights against 2 pretty large dudes, so like there is the size disparity as well. But I think this could be a sleeper hit on the show.
Yeah, My buddy that's going with us is the guy that was talking about being a big Kevin Knight guy.
Mm-hmm.
So he was like, "Bro, he's gonna be on the show." He's just really pumped up about it, and because she is a legend, so
Yeah.
it's gonna be pretty dope.
Yeah, I'm really excited for that match. I think it could be sneakily good. Next is a match. You're very excited for this one. Gabe Kidd defending the Strong Openweight Championship against the Stone Pitbull, Tomohiro Ishii. This is a rematch from Battle in the Valley, and they went to a time limit draw last time, so this time they're doing a 30-minute Iron Man match. I don't know how to feel about that personally, just because I think of what these guys do. I don't think I need a half hour, but I mean, this is going to be just a dude's rock, like meathead slugfest.
I called it CTE Central earlier, and
Yeah.
it's just gonna be a straight ass beater. Yeah, it doesn't need to be an Iron Man 30-minute, but I'm here for it. I'm cool.
Yeah, so I'm curious to see how they structure that, because that is a lot to ask for 30 minutes, but verdict is still out. I'm not gonna, I'm not gonna be all stingy about it now. Interesting to say the least. But I mean, you know what you're getting, and if you like that stuff, I'm sure you'll like the match. Then this one I was surprised to see. It's Rocky Romero and El Phantasmo against Tetsuya Naito and Teton, which cool to see Teton. Some CMLL flavor to this. I'm surprised Naito is making the trip, because he doesn't always, and he's not in the best shape right now.
Yeah, I was wondering that too. Like, I thought he was hurt, no? Or, well,
I mean, he's just
getting older, right?
yeah, he's breaking down. He's having issues with his eyesight. I mean, he's had long-standing issues with his eyesight, but I mean, the latest reports have been that it's pretty severe in the one eye. So, hey, I mean, respect to him for making the trip, and I hope he's getting compensated handsomely for it. But I'm excited to see Teton, man. Like, that's pretty cool.
That's pretty dope.
Now we get into the thick of it here with the top three on the card. Zack Sabre Jr. versus David Finlay in a special singles match. I'm really excited for this.
I'm a big Sabre guy. I didn't even know this was going to be on the card. I didn't know Sabre was going to be on the card, I should say. But I'm a big TMDK guy. So I'm stoked to see what and they've been pushing David Finlay a lot too after winning the New Japan Cup. So
yeah, and this was a rematch from the tournament. I'm gonna watch their first match before I go into this one, just in case they do some callbacks. Yeah, but I'll tell you what, man, I was not feeling a good chunk of the David Finlay heel turn when it happened, but since last year's G1, I've really turned the corner with him. Like, he has been awesome, like, for almost a year now. So I am looking forward to this one very much, and getting to see this version of Finlay with the momentum in person. And, like, seeing Zach's always a good time. So I'm really looking forward to this one, and I would say I think they've done a good job with, granted, I haven't seen every show as I'm wrapping up 2024 as we speak, but I have been tuning in for the big shows, and I think they've done a really good job of keeping Zach relevant and giving him things to do after losing the title. So, yeah, I'm really excited for that match, and I think it could steal the show. Next is the reason we're all going, though. It's the Ace versus the Alpha. It is Konosuke Takeshita wrestling Hiroshi Tanahashi in his final match in the United States. And this could go any way it wants to. I am just going to embrace it, because Tanahashi is huge to me, to my pro wrestling fandom. I attribute like how I watch pro wrestling, how I started like wanting to look deeper into things, all comes from Tanahashi matches, and just everything he's done, and just the way he has worked for the past 15 years now.
He's the ace for a reason,
I mean, no, he won his first world title in like 20 years ago. What am I saying? He's the ace for the reason, man. And regardless of the state he's in now, This is definitely more one of the heart than the mind. So we just got to go and feel it and cheer on the ace, because he's probably going to get dismantled by Takeshita, because they've wrestled one time in DDT and Tanahashi kind of big leagued him.
And
so
now it's, the student become the teacher kind of situation here, because Takeshita's all over,
Yeah, so there's some history there. I'm gonna go back and make sure I revisit that match too.
Yeah, I'm gonna go back and watch. I've seen clips of that match before.
Mm-hmm.
I think maybe on Twitter, but
I want to say it was 2015, maybe earlier.
Yeah, I remember seeing it was a very young Takeshi. He had shorter hair.
Yeah, and I think he was wrestling just like regular shorts.
Yeah, like regular. He looked like Kenta, a little bit with the tights like that.
And then like the swoopy hair and stuff. Yeah, so yeah, but really, really cool match for the choice of opponent. With people are going to recognize Takeshita from being on television, and I'm sure Tana wants to put him over. And now that they have him on a partial deal, they don't have to really tiptoe around that. Like, they could utilize him to his full potential. So I think it'll be a big night for him. Like I said, regardless of how Tanahashi is physically or how the match actually goes, I'm just gonna soak this one in.
Yeah,
and then
it's gonna be great.
Main event, which Tanahashi is not main eventing this show, because of how they do things. The world title always takes priority, and at the end of Sakura Genesis, Hiroki Goto called out Shota Umino to take his shot.
Yeah, I see. I was reading up on that one. I read it because I'm a little behind on a lot of the New Japan stuff, so I've just been reading the results the best I can do right now. I seen that we're getting that match, and then I also seen, was it Sonata joined he joined the House of Torture? Is that who?
Yeah, which is like he left one subunit of Bullet Club for another.
Yo, my man has joined 4 factions in the past 4 years. So
yeah, he's. And he looks fucked up now. It's awesome.
Yeah, I honestly don't know. I'm stoked to see Goto. Always am. But I don't know how to feel about this match, though.
Yeah, because, they kind of forced their hand with Shooter. His push didn't go as planned this first time around.
Yeah.
Like he main evented the Tokyo Dome, and it died on its ass. With Zack, so I think they're wanting a change, just a shift for him. Yeah, he is bald now. That's the main difference. I don't know if he. I think they got a lot of juice in this Goto run yet. So I don't think they'll do this title switch. They've proven that they're not afraid to do it in the States, like last year with Moxley. But again, that's John Moxley. That's a different story altogether. But I don't know. I'm just happy to be a part of this Goto title run, because it's been one of the feel good stories of wrestling this year thus far, and I'm excited to see him defend the belt, even if I don't necessarily agree with the choice either.
Yeah, it still should be great. It's gonna be a great night in general. Just live wrestling, New Japan. Yeah.
Yeah, man, I'm excited. I'm just excited to go to a show. This is it's time, especially after missing Deadlock due to the weather. This will be a nice bounce back, implying that everything, speaking to existence now that everything is habitable and there's clear skies and no bullshit. So, but I look forward to the show. I look forward to seeing you at the show.
We're sitting relatively close to each other, so I'm pretty stoked for that.
And if anybody has gotten to this far in the podcast, which is like our longest episode yet, but there was a lot to cover, and I had a great time. Thank you for listening, and if you happen to be attending, which I believe there's still tickets available, say what's up. We're on like the side face, or we're at the side behind the hard cam, so we'll be around.
I'll be the guy in the sick Ribera jacket. Come find me.
There you go. That's awesome that you have one. But yeah, that's all from us for this week. Again, thank you for listening. You can find us on social media at OuterStevon and at The Loserweight. But regardless, we'll be back next week to talk television and preview WrestleMania week with matches we are looking forward to. And hopefully we get a little bit of that spark and a little bit of that buzz that that WrestleMania brings, given the lackluster build.
Once Monday comes, I'm going to be in Christmas mode, so that spark will be there for me.
Well, I'm looking forward to it. Well, Chris, thanks for doing this. And once again, thank you for listening. We'll talk to you again next week.
See ya.